Sup nerds, I'm CuppaJoey and today we're going to be having a look at r/am I the arse. I think I'm going to be okay if I stop the words after the arse part of it. So these people have been in various conflicts, we're going to find out whether or not they were the arse in said conflicts. Am I the arse for taking the best parking spot away from someone with a more visible medical need? First and foremost, I have a heart condition. Medical people call it minor, but it's major enough to me. It's not going to kill me so long as I don't do stupid things like aerobics or calisthenics or get angry enough to spike my blood pressure. Anger management is a crucial skill with arrhythmia. I do believe that's how it's pronounced. I do apologise if I got that wrong. So, I live in an apartment complex on the second floor. I park in the nearest spot available, closest by the stairs wherever I can. Little things really do help. A neighbour on the third floor has recently sprained her ankle severely. It will actually take longer for her to heal than if she'd broken it. She complains about me parking in her since she should get to use the not marked in any way disabled spot. Neighbours have mostly taken her side, even though I've mentioned my condition. It's much easier for them to see her very obvious distress climbing 2 flights of stairs while I only have to climb just 1. Furthermore, since I work from home, once I park there, I hog it for days. Am I the arse for claiming the parking spot whenever it's open? This one genuinely got me quite angry when I was reading this. This is absolutely horrible, and the way that OP has been treated is pretty disgraceful, to be frank. I absolutely by no means want to play like disabled ranking or whatever as to how somebody has it worse than somebody else, because, you know, everybody's experiences with their own medical conditions are different. But if you have a heart condition, that could get incredibly serious very quickly, even if it is supposedly minor, whereas a sprained ankle, it's just gonna hurt. I've had sprained ankles before, you know, they're really painful. I've even dislocated my knee and had to be in a brace with crutches for a couple of weeks, and even so, like, well, it was actually more than a couple of weeks, but, you know, even so, it was fine. I'm fine, my leg is fine, you know, I got through it, you know, but it genuinely enrages me to read this. Because they're going, oh, this person is struggling, but your disability is invisible, so therefore it's not as serious, when it is her freaking heart. Like, seriously, it makes me genuinely really angry when people treat disabled people like this. She absolutely deserves to have that spot. And I mean, it's not even marked, but yeah, she deserves that spot in order to get up the stairs and such. Besides, what difference is this one parking spot going to make to somebody with a sprained ankle? Like, the person with the heart condition, OP, she has said that she really struggles and that, you know, just walking that little bit extra really makes a difference. However, if you've got sprained ankles, the worst thing that you're gonna have to do is, like, hop a little bit more. I don't understand how people can be so freaking heartless. There's a huge amount of selfishness for the person with the sprained ankle. I mean, yeah, again, like I said before, I had a dislocated knee, but often, you know, this was when I was about 14 years old, so I had, like, the special lift key to use the lift at the school because, you know, I couldn't use the stairs. And even so, I knew that if somebody else with a more serious medical problem, like a continuously serious problem, would come along, then they would have to go in the lift first, and that was totally fine. You know, and that's the thing, is that with a heart condition, that's something that, you know, it seems like it's going to be lifelong, whereas a sprained ankle gets better. It just makes me really, really annoyed, and especially it's like there's no dedicated disabled parking. First of all, there should be, and you know what, there should be, like, at least 2, if there are 2 people with different disabilities, one temporary, one not, that live in this building. But treating, you know, they should be annoyed at the fact that 2 disabled spaces are being provided for them, as opposed to, you know, ganging up on and attacking their neighbour who is also disabled and has quite a serious disability. That's just shocking. Like, OP's neighbours are shocking, and I feel really bad that they thought that they were an arse, you know. Because the thing is that people come to this somewhat, I mean, a lot of them are supposedly fake, or, you know, are there to, like, say, oh, I did this controversial thing, am I bad? Or, I was clearly a hero in this situation, am I bad? But with this one, it really seems like she's quite worried that she's taking away this parking spot from someone. I feel really bad that she was made to feel that way. Nobody should ever, like, be made to feel guilty about their disability and the way that it affects their everyday life. So this next one I actually originally saw on r/choosing beggars, but as it's a screenshot from r/amidr, so I thought I would include it in this video instead. Amid asked for giving artistic freedom and then asking for changes. I recently commissioned an artist and I didn't really know what I wanted, so I just said they could have artistic freedom to draw my character. A lot of their art was cool looking, so I trusted their view, but a day later I got a work in progress sketch from them, and it wasn't really what I had in mind. I tried to explain that to them and asked if they could redo it in the way I like, but they are asking me to pay an extra $5 to redo the whole thing. I find this ridiculous because I paid them for a service, so I should get it the way I want it. That's just how it works. All my friends are saying I'm an arse because if I wanted something specific, I should have said so instead of giving artistic freedom. I don't know why the artist can't just redo it for free. We are only at the sketch stage. They just need to make a new sketch the way I want it. Am I the arse? I've not made it any secret how it really bothers me the way that people treat artists in the world, and this is absolutely no exception. In fact, this is like a classic example of the crap that artists have to put up with. If they had something in mind, then they should not have given artistic freedom, because artistic freedom is exactly that. You can't say, oh, I'll let you do whatever I want, and then have something in mind. I don't think that there's anything wrong with giving artistic freedom and then changing your mind about how you want the sketch when it comes out, but you have to be willing to pay for that. That's the thing. You might have seen some of my partner's art, but my partner is an artist, and she has said that she much prefers it when she gets a commission if they say exactly what they want, even things down to whether or not the character has their hands on their hips, or whether they're waving, or what, just because she doesn't know what they're gonna like. And if she picks the wrong thing, then you get situations like this, and then you use up time, you use up materials, and you also use, you know, the talent that a lot of these people have spent years of their life studying in order to perfect how good they are at, you know, sketches. I mean, this just says sketch. I don't know what art it was in particular, but still. The artist was only asking for $5 extra, which is next to nothing. I mean, when you consider how much time is put into it, like, say even half an hour, that, you know, it's still very small amount of money for what they're asking for. And I hate that. I just can't see why they can't just do it. You know, this is somebody with a skill that you do not have, which is why you are paying them. That's the whole point. If they didn't want this situation, then they really should have thought about what they wanted rather than just, oh, anything, and then complaining when they got anything. I often use food as a way to explain things because everybody can relate with food, but let's say that your friend went out to buy you an ice cream, okay? You gave them some money and said, I don't know what I want, so can you just go out and get me an ice cream? Anything will do. Then, let's say when they come back, they got you a vanilla ice cream, and you're like, hey, I wanted chocolate. This wasn't what I had in mind. How did you not know that I wanted chocolate? Could you just go back out and get me a chocolate one? That's the exact same situation, like, and asking, like, your friend to pay for it as well. This is just unacceptable. If you're gonna employ an artist, pay a freaking artist. You don't try and get out of paying for other things. It's like, yeah, and again, I know I'm using food again, but say if you got a nice little burger or whatever, and it says to put cheese on top is 50p, and then you're like, why is it 50p? All you need to do is put cheese on top. It's the exact same situation. Stop. Don't give artistic freedom if you have something in mind. If you do give artistic freedom, then be prepared to pay if you're gonna change it. Ugh, this is just really choosing beggary, and this is the exact kind of crap that artists have, you know, to put up with. And this is also why artists don't freaking charge enough, because they get people like this giving them crap all the time, and it makes them doubt themselves when they're people who are talented. It really bugs me. Am I the arse for getting upset? A woman on a flight put her garbage on my tray. Okay, so I was in the middle, my husband in the aisle, and she had the window. It was a longer flight, so Delta was serving a full meal. I should say that the woman and I hadn't interacted up until this point. We all ate at the same time, and she finished first. The attendant had started picking up the garbage, but we were towards the back and it would be a while until she got to us. So the woman put her empty containers on the edge of my tray so she could fold hers back up. I was still eating. I sat there stunned for a moment, which quickly turned into disgust. So I turned to her and said, "Excuse me, but do you mind taking your garbage off my tray?" She got all huffy and made a whole dramatic show of putting back down her tray and removing everything slowly and one by one. Needless to say, it was awkward for the rest of the flight. But what the hell? Am I the arse? Edit, adding here that my husband thought it wasn't a big deal since it would have only been like 5 minutes or so until the garbage was picked up. Oh my goodness, no, you are absolutely not the arse in this situation. What kind of an Enturtled? Oh dear. Entitled person puts their garbage on someone else's tray. Oh, well, they're rubbish. I'm sorry, I don't really like to say garbage unless I'm reading it out because then it's someone else's word. Entitled. Just imagining like Cooper. Sound the train. The train, oh my goodness. Plane. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just imagining. What the hell? Cooper just put his rubbish on my tray and we're not in the plane anymore. Oh, okay, but seriously, what kind of entitled person just puts their rubbish on someone else's tray purely for the convenience of folding theirs back up? That really bugs me. I find that so rude. The fact that they hadn't even spoken at all. It would be one thing if she had said, oh, sorry, do you mind as I finish? Would it be okay if I just put this here? I mean, it still would have been pretty gross and she would have been entitled to say no if she, you know, didn't want that on her tray. But even so, it's pretty weird. The fact that she just did it and folded it up and then, like, huffed and made it out like this, you know, OP was in the wrong and being a terrible person just by asking her not to. And yeah, OP was still eating. Like, I know a lot of people for who, like, the littlest thing can put them off eating, so you have to kind of be a bit hands-off around meal times. So that you know, if she had some kind of stomach issue or, you know, an emotional problem, that could have caused quite a lot of issues, especially for the whole dramatic huffiness. Like, if this was me, I know that, like, loads of people be like, oh yeah, man, if it were me, I would have brapped him right up, blood, whatever. You know, like, no, I'm not going to say that. But, like, I am quite bolshy and I am quite forward. And if somebody did that to me, I'd probably be like, excuse me? What the hell are you doing? You know? But another thing that I have to say is about the husband. When he said, adding kid, my husband thought it wasn't a big deal, so it would have only been like 5 minutes. If it would have only been like 5 minutes, surely the woman who put the rubbish on the tray, surely she could have waited with her tray down for 5 minutes. You don't just put your burden on someone else. How freaking rude. Honestly, she was really rude. And I think that OP was really polite. Like, she was way more polite than she needed to be. Hermione asked for giving a free sample of ice cream to my dog. I bring my service dog everywhere with me. Recently I went to a grocery store that has an ice cream section where you can try free samples. I was there with my 3 kids. They all wanted ice cream, but I didn't want to go through the hassle of buying 3 orders of ice cream, so I went to the ice cream person and told the kids to try a sample of flavour they wanted, and that's their ice cream for the day. Of course, one of my kids starts crying that she didn't like the pistachio flavour and wants to try again, so I asked for another sample for her. I think the person behind the booth knew I wasn't going to buy anything and was discriminating against me, but she didn't say anything yet. She, however, flipped out at me when I asked her for a sample for the dog. She said he can't try ice cream. How am I supposed to know if he likes the flavour? I told her he isn't going to order any, he just wants to try. She said quite rudely, "Ma'am, you've already had 5 samples between you and your kids and it doesn't seem like you have any intention of buying ice cream." I asked her to please point me in the direction of the US law that forbids sampling ice cream. I told her calmly, "I am a regular loyal customer and you legally cannot refuse to let me sample ice cream when you allow others to do so, and if you do it's a violation of discrimination laws. There is no sign that says you can only get samples if you buy ice cream, also no dogs." I was able to get her to bring out the manager. The manager told me he was sorry for how I was treated, but they do not give samples to dogs. I said, "Fine, can you just give me another sample?" He said, "I strongly suspect you will be giving it to your dog," which was the plan. So I said, "I spend over $300 a month here and you're freaking out over a dog having a sample of ice cream? Okay." He told me most dogs react badly to ice cream and he didn't want to risk the dog getting sick in the store. I said, "I know my dog better than anyone and I know if the dog can eat ice cream or not." I admit I may have caused a commotion leaving the store, but I couldn't handle this level of discrimination. I do not plan to return to the store and I'll be leaving a very strongly worded review online. The way I see it, they at least violated the law, albeit not in the way that warrants jail time, but possibly a lawsuit? I don't know. Are my instincts right? All Karen wanted to do was feed her dog some ice cream. There was no sign to say so, and by refusing her what she was demanding, clearly the cashier or whoever in the situation was in the wrong. That's like the mindset that OP here has. Oh my goodness. And yeah, I will be calling OP Karen throughout this because they're a Karen. That whole I was able to get her to bring out the manager as well. I mean, you're not really doing many favours for yourself in terms of stereotypes. So I'll just sort of address each issue as they appear in the story. First of all, she said that she brings her service dog everywhere with her. Now, and I absolutely hate to say this, part of me really doubts that it's actually a service dog, just by the way that the OP Karen actually writes the rest of the story. Now, I do think that if somebody has a service dog and you're unsure whether or not it is a legitimate service dog, then it is best to assume that they are a legitimate service dog, because the last thing you want to do is claim that somebody's faking something and it turns out to be completely legitimate. Also, there are a lot of invisible disabilities out there. So while it may seem that somebody doesn't need a service dog, it could be that they actually need it as a part of everyday life. However, just the fact that she wants to feed this dog a load of ice cream in public and is getting really annoyed with the fact that she's not being allowed ice cream to give to her dog. Like human ice cream as well. I've been to pet stands where they have like beef flavoured dog ice cream. It is a thing. I mean, even the fact that the manager says the dogs could often get sick when they have ice cream and it's not wise and they don't want the dog getting sick in the store, it all makes a lot of sense. But there is so much entitlement right from the offset. Okay, first of all, she says that the only reason that she's gone to get samples is because her kids want ice cream and she doesn't want to buy it. Just say no to your freaking kids. Don't go around hassling cashiers that are definitely not earning enough to deal with your crap. You know, it's really bad that whoever was behind the cashier had to deal with this, you know, person just screaming at them that they were discriminating against her just because they weren't willing to give out loads of free ice cream. Karen as well just like ticks a load of the Karen boxes in terms of stereotypes as well. She asks if they could get the manager, you know, that's a classic, can I speak to the manager? You know, that's sort of the Karen catchphrase, so to speak. Another regular thing that I see Karen saying is, where is the sign to say that you can't? There doesn't need to be a sign. If they are giving out free samples, it is 100% at their discretion. The whole point of free samples is that it's a promotion in order to try and entice someone into buying something, that if you don't know which ice cream you want to buy, you can try 2 different flavours, see which one you prefer, and then buy it then. And then the whole, I spend over $300 a month here and you're freaking out over a dog having a sample of ice cream. The only one freaking out here, Karen, is you. Why do you think that your dog is entitled to a free sample of ice cream? That's what I don't understand. And that whole, I don't know what flavour he would like. It's a dog. Surely they'd like anything. And the whole, I know my dog better than you, I know if the dog can't have anything. That is said by so many people that give their animals, their pets, things that they really shouldn't be having, so that really frustrates me. This dog sounds like it's being abused. And the fact that they want to, like, write a strongly worded letter online, it seems like the cashier in this sense is gonna have the, you know, this story is a Tales from Retail, like, oh, for God's sake. And the whole thing about it being discrimination, the only discrimination here is that they're being discriminatory against you for being a frickin' cheapskate and trying to force free stuff out of them rather than actually paying for an ice cream. I'm pretty sure if she just paid for at least one ice cream, like, even if she bought the cheapest ice cream, they wouldn't really have a problem with it. But the fact, you just went up in full Karen force, you Karen'd everywhere, then Karen'd out. Now, this does hit every single Karen tick box, so part of me did wonder, is this fake? Because it does sound like they're just saying everything in order to rile people up. You know, there's a whole choosing beggar aspect, that's bringing the dog into it, claiming discrimination when there's clearly none. But the thing is that the Karen came out in full force in the comments. Like, they are getting so angry. They've started to say that the supermarket is publicly owned, and that one of the reasons that she shouldn't be refused service is that it's a publicly owned company that should be for everyone. It's not. The company that it is Mariano's, which turns out is part of the great big Kroger parent family. It's one of the, you know, massive corporations that owns literally everything in the world. So, absolutely not in terms of publicly owned. There's so much of this I'm going to sue you where they just really don't understand how that's gonna happen. This would be such a waste of everyone's money and time. And that whole, the manager said sorry for the way I was treated, you know that they were just going through the standard manager crap. I know that what definitely happened from the manager's point of view is that they would have had their employee come back, tell them the situation, and they're like, oh god, I now have to, calm down this Karen that's giving my poor employee a hard time. I mean, long story short, you can't just go up to an ice cream stand and demand that they give you free samples, especially if it's for a dog, and then claiming all of that stuff about discrimination and talking to the manager, leaving a bad review. Oh, I mean, they were voted to be the arse, unsurprisingly, and yeah, they just seem like a complete arse. The arseness is off the scale. Well, that's it for this episode of r/am I the arse. Did you think that these people were arses? Did you think that they were justified? Or did you think that there's more that we're not hearing? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed hearing from this subreddit or would like to hear from any other subreddit, then also let me know in the comments. And until then, I'll see you all next time.